Let me tell you a little bit about my experience about going through a breakup with an avoidant. So I was married for about 10 years and I come from a really strict religious background. And, after my divorce, after I was married for the 10 years, got a divorce, I started going back out there into the dating world. And I started for the first time making dating choices that were more along the lines of what I wanted, like a polar opposite of my wife. And so my wife was kind of like rigid and uptight and religious. And so I decided to choose like the polar opposite of that, the girl with the tattoos and the girl that was like the fun girl and all this kind of stuff. And so we dated for about 3 months. We moved in with each other. And after about a month of living together, all of a sudden, she comes home late from work one night. She works the night shift. So she comes like in the middle of the night, which was later than usual. And I just asked her like, hey, what have you been up to? And normally I'd be asleep by that point. And she wanted to tell me. So she went straight to bed and she wanted to just not talk about it and go straight to bed. So that was a huge red flag to me. So I'm like, look, I'll move out right now. I started packing my shit. I'm like, this is not cool. Like, we have to talk about, like if I just ask you where you were, like, you got to tell me, right? And I remember that moment because I was willing to walk, and she cried, begged me to stay and all that kind of stuff. And I think I might have gotten out of her some reason as to why she was out late or whatever. So I stayed, but after about a year and a half of living together, now all of a sudden she's, she's cheating on me with her boss, other guys from work. There's a lot of crazy up and down drama, for being on the emotional roller coaster with this chick. And of course, by then, after a year and a half, I'm attached already. So I'd already invested my emotional capital in this person. I've already accepted her flaws, decided to buy all the way in, and at that point, it was kind of too late. I had attached. And so she tried breaking up with me a couple times, and I reacted the right way. I'm like, okay, cool, if that's what you want, but it's not what I want, but if that's what you want, go ahead. And then she would, change her mind. Finally, one day she was serious. I went out of town. I went to go see my kids. They were out of state at the time. And while I was away, I could just feel her pulling away. And, I begged her not to. I begged her to at least talk to me in that moment. And come to find out, after I got home, she called some guy over off Tinder while I was away and hooked up with him. And even after that, I was still trying to get her back. At that point, I was emotionally hooked to the point where I was willing to try to get this person back who was actively cheating on me. And it goes to show, that like when I was willing to move out in the beginning versus what it was like after we had, I allowed myself to connect. It goes to show the vulnerability in attaching to an avoidant. Now, not all avoidants are low integrity like this. And with some people, you truly can put your relationships back together. But I just want to share my experience with you. And if you want help with your situation, click into my profile and click this link down here and get connected.